over a month. And the way we did it is to now take that whole, we used to do hour-long specials, we still do those, but now we're shooting them in small bits specifically for mobile devices. Let's watch this. Oh, excuse me, I got ahead of myself. There's 5 elements to this story that we're still building into a mobile show. People, places, history, dreams, and emotion. If you don't have those, it doesn't work. Certain things don't work. So watch what happens here. We're going into the actual video of the dream.
At just over 3,400 square feet, this modern lodge takes a contemporary approach to mountain design. Enter the main level and become one with nature with a floor plan that truly brings the beauty of the outside in. The gathering room, kitchen, and dining room share one very large open space. Just off the kitchen is the master suite, designed around one of the best views in the whole house. Head down the steps to the ground level. Your friends won't want to leave this comfy bed, handy kitchenette, and deluxe guest suite. And that's just inside. Check out a terrace that's ready to party. It even comes with a hot tub and an outdoor fireplace.
Less than a minute for mobile, right? So the next shot is a backup to that because there's not enough information in 1 minute. So we shoot about 5 on 1 minute.
Fits in perfectly, not just with the mountain, but with the local architecture as well. One of the most important ways of doing that is making sure that the materials we use for the house were found on site. The enormous boulders in the landscape were taken out while building the foundation for the home. And similarly, the trees that were felled were used to create some of the heavy-duty timber details that you find on the facade and inside as well. One of my favorite details, however, are the bark shingles that you'll find deeply set within the eaves that are holding up the steeply pitched roofs. Classic details of alpine architecture. Our modern twist on it, however, are those enormous picture windows you see, which you know are revealing amazing views from inside.
I'm sure John didn't like to be out there in the snow shooting these pieces. But nonetheless, that's what we're doing. We're taking television and making it biteable, ingestible, digestible, mobile, right? So the one last one is sort of a look back at the history as well as some of the people.
It's incredible for me to think this is our 15th HGTV Dream Home. We have been in so many wonderful places around the country. This place is certainly one of them. So much like no other place that I've spent time. It's an incredible destination. It has this really wonderful charm, but there's also this energy to Stowe that you don't always see unless you're here. We've got a great dream team this year. Our developer, who's been in this area for a while, our builder, our architect, and of course Linda Woodrum, who we have every year, who's an amazing interior talent.
The design process starts with my first trip up to Stowe, Vermont. I need to get the impressions of what Stowe, Vermont is all about. The steeples on the churches rising upward and white, beautiful against the foliage, the fields against the granite mountains, the breads of the barns that are part of the landscape, that are the history of this area. All of those little pieces are part of the whole, but they have to be incorporated into the house. Every project has a starting point. Maple flooring, indigenous to the area. The birch bark, it's going to show up again and again in many different ways. And the fall foliage, this offers us a wonderful color palette. I always want it to feel like it belongs where it's built. I want to make sure that it works for the people that are going to live there. And I want to make sure it looks fabulous.
So a little bit of how a story is told on television and now across the digital plane. There's a couple other things that we work on too. And part of it too is we're now realizing that people want to tell their story. Why is it that when we sell houses, you never let the homeowner talk to the buyers, right? It's weird. So one of the things that we found, we started doing an architectural piece for Front Door, where we shot the 30 different, what home style are you? So we started talking in that voice, and we found out that people really love talking about their homes. So I'm going to show you an example of somebody who, it's an architectural row house. Architecturally, it's a row house, but it's what she brought to it. Now, what's all this mean to you? Well, it turns out that consumers really like stories. They really like history. They really like what has gone on. And the more we communicate with consumers, specifically in the language that they like, they love this stuff. it just makes the relationship better. It's not just data, it's not just the deal, it's the dimensions. Why homes are important, what is it? We're going to be living in these homes. So the real life stories is what this is about. Let me show you one quick take we do. And again, this is for short form, for mobile, and for the web.
For some, the ideal home is sharing a wall with your neighbor, having a parlor room to entertain guests, and a small garden right next to your kitchen. And if that's your ideal, then welcome to the row house. During the early to mid-19th century, people migrated to the big cities to find better work and education. So in order to accommodate everyone, row houses were built. A row house can be defined by a single wall between buildings, set within a sizable, unbroken cluster of residences built at the same time. They were usually 2 stories high, occupying lots measuring 25 feet by 100 feet.
Well, it's a wonderfully livable house. You walk in, you have a small foyer, and the stairs are in front of you. To your right is the living room.
The living room was once called the parlor room. They were public spaces where guests were entertained and where book collections were housed. They had higher ceilings and were more elaborate than the rest of the house.
And the pocket doors separate the living room from the dining room. There is a bath, a full bath on this floor. These are original pine floors, and it's the original banister. I kept everything as authentic as I could in the house. I like the authenticity of the house. I thought it was a characteristic you didn't really want to lose. When you go downstairs, there's a kitchen.
During the row house era, kitchens were completely separate from where the life and enjoyment of the house was. Food preparation and deliveries were more behind the scenes. And you'll see that the kitchen offers easy access to the small backyard, an ideal place to grow fruits and vegetables, pretty useful in the time before supermarkets.
And if you go up the stairs, come back to the parlor floor from the garden floor and go up the stairs, there are 2 bedrooms, mine and my daughter's. And it's nice to acquaint your children as they're growing up with history. But not only that, it was the character of the house itself that drew me to it. It's unique and, I think, enchanting.
It's hard not to get attached to these cocoon-like dwellings that have remained attached to one another for well over 100 years. And from the looks of these homes and the way they modestly embellish a city street, they'll last 100 more.
So we're shooting 100 of these right now to depict the nature of American architecture. There's one last thing that's needed in all of this, that including people, places, history, dreams, and emotion. There's also the industry, there's you. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we're the most watched networks by the industry, but also reaching out to your front door and other devices to work with you specifically to make your business better. That's not what this talk is about. But hopefully today we've seen sort of how we frame a story around the consumer's wishes about their love and devotion and happiness about homes. And that's still ongoing and will be ongoing forever. Thank you.